All right.
So, hi everybody out there in Facebook land. This is Beaux Bowman of the Black Raven Brewing Company. We're gonna do some stuff here today, and we're gonna try and take you on a brewery tour, among other things. And hopefully that's gonna work out. We're all learning the technology. This is all new stuff for all of us. First thing we want to do is we want to do a cheers. So let me open my beer. I'm pouring a nice Black Raven Pilsner, which is the Pilsner. Same thing that Beau's drinking. And it's you guys just started canning this, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We just started a couple weeks ago.
We picked ours up at the Beverage Place Pub. Is that correct, Kim? Yeah. Gary is selling beer to go down there, and he got some of your Pilsner in, so we ran down and picked up a 6-pack of it. Excellent. I've got it in appropriate glassware, not exactly appropriate label appropriate, but not necessarily appropriate style of glassware, but I'm not picky that way.
That's all right.
I'm not a picky man.
Right, everything's in the upside down anyway.
Yeah, for sure. So, Beau,
yes,
you're going to give us a tour of your brewery. And when did you guys start brewing on this new system out in Woodinville?
Yeah, Woodinville, we just got this online this summer, but July timeframe. Worked on this project. We've been working on this, started in, I guess technically 2017. And then 18, we were able to get into the space, start building out. And then about summer, July 19, open the doors, start making beer, get the tap room open, start letting people come in and see what it is we do here.
So, tell us a little bit about the system before you start showing us around. I mean, you want to, I don't know how much of the story you want to go through about where this thing came from and any trials and tribulations you guys went through getting this system actually from the manufacturer and installed.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. That might be a different podcast. might be a little more dark. But no, it's we had some challenges like everything. It was a challenging project with the manufacturer, but the bottom line is what we ended up achieving and what we have here meets all our expectations and probably even goes further than that. So we're really happy with what we have. It's a 30-barrel brew house, 4-vessel brew house. Beautiful system, but it was a hell of a way to get there.
And you guys got to basically design this system to be exactly what you wanted, correct?
Yeah, we were able to tweak things on it to make modifications and changes to how we wanted it to work, what would work best for us, our process, our beer, our brewers, this facility, everything. So these large systems are pretty much, they're not really turnkey. I mean, a lot of times the plans exist. They've built systems before like this. It's just you make your little edits and your changes onto the system, add-ons, options, that sort of thing. So we took advantage of that.
Was there anything particular that you guys, that was a particular tweak that was kind of unique to what guys wanted to, maybe not unique, but particular to what you wanted on the system?
Yeah, there's a couple of things actually. So some of the things that we try to achieve, obviously we aim to be as consistent as possible, and technology can help you achieve that. It's not going to, the system has a lot of bells and whistles, a lot of devices and help, but it's not going to brew for you. You still got to be a brewer. But it's really nice to have more control over your variables. And in fact, right behind me here, you'll see these two blue boxes on the stage back there. Those are auto mixing valves. And so what's happening is as the water's coming into the mash mixer, temperature is very critical in the brewing process. Mash is critical in the brewing process. And so what'll happen is the computer and the mixing valves will automatically achieve a specific strike temperature for the mash-in process. So it's kind of nerdy, but it's really nice to have instead of manually trying to control those things. Little things like that. And I don't know if we can see it. We move around, we can try to look at it, but also for grain handling, spent grain. is pushed out through a different type system. It's not raking into buckets and taking outside, which, it's a great workout. We like doing that, but when you're on a 30-barrel system, that's a lot of workout. So we've got this 300-foot 4-inch stainless tube. I don't know if you can. I don't see it up there in the sky. It's right over me. But what happens is it basically pushes all the grain out of the mash tun through the tubes out into the back. There's a trailer that collects all the grain and goes to the farm. So fun things like that to have. And we can try to wander up the stage here in a second and look at some things. Again, this is, I make beer. I'm not necessarily, run a camera or camera crew. So we'll see what happens.
And we both, in the right side up world, we both do other things other than go live on Facebook.
Well, right, exactly.
But the world's upside down, so I think everybody's learning along with us, and everybody's accepting that this is not going to be perfect. But hey, we're trying.
Of course, that's what makes it fun, right?
Exactly.
It was perfect. Come on. But yeah, this is I believe this is the first time I've ever done one of these things, so this is all new to me.
Yep. All right. Well, what do you guys? I mean, I know the world is upside down, and breweries like you are doing everything you can just to stay afloat and stay alive right now. But are you guys working on anything in particular that's kind of cool and new?
Yeah, and so I'll go back to the Pilsner. So the Pilsner, it's it's interesting. It's kind of unfortunate because this just launched a couple of weeks ago. We were planning a much larger launch than what happened, obviously. This was going to be, the next big thing for us. It still is. We're really excited to have the Pilsner, but we were going to make a big to-do out of it. And, I guess those plans have to go on hold a little bit. But it is out there. It's in the market. We're canning it. You can find it on the grocery shelves, bottle shops. Various places are now starting to stock and inventory the new Pilsner. We've always made a Pilsner since year one in 2009. It was called Hawksite, and that was brewed every summer. And like a lot of breweries, we just didn't have the capacity to continually brew Pilsner year round. It just takes up so much more resources. With the opening,
explain to people what you mean by that.
Absolutely. It really comes down to resident tank time. Where your ales are fairly quick, that 2 to 3 week window from brew day to the day it's, you're drinking it. True lagers like this Pilsner, you've got to have a little more patience. So you're looking more at that 3-4 week window. So just the quick math, you're tying up tanks. You can make twice as much ale as you can lager for your tanks. We have a lot more tanks here. We have larger tanks here. And it's just something we've wanted to do for a long time, is have a year-round Pilsner. Now, this is not Hawksite. This is a new beer that we collectively here, the brewers, we all developed this beer in Woodinville, specifically on this system to be the first lager and Pilsner on the new system. And we're really happy with what came out of it. It's a great brew house for making lager.
Right on. So, and the canning line.
Yeah.
When did you guys come online with the canning line? I mean, what was that part of the?
Let's go ahead and skip to the future because that's next month.
Okay.
With the whole thing that we won't really get into, other than we'll just say the manufacturer of our brew house, when we were building, went out of business, which is kind of what caused a lot of issues. As part of that, we did lose our budget for our can line. Craft has been awesome. They're mobile canning. They've been able to help us out so much over the years, really doing great work. But we're at the point now where we're going to get our own canning line, and it's actually currently being produced. It's supposed to ship next week. We'll see, but we're expecting to see it. So we're expecting to be putting that online into this month, coming into May. Hopefully, have that all online in May and rocking our cans.
Hey Garrett, me and Beaux are both drinking the Pilsner. Somebody's asking us what we're drinking.
Yes,
So
gotcha.
it's the new, and you can get it.
It's the new
in cans.
Pilsner, the new
It's tasty
Pilsner
stuff.
from the Woodinville brewery. Thank you. Yeah, we're really happy with it. I mean, you've probably seen a lot of breweries. If you go to breweries and tap rooms, when you kind of look back and see what the brewers are drinking, there's a lot of us that are drinking lager, and there's a lot of us drinking Pilsner.
And right now, as of right now, there's one more person drinking Pilsner. Kim just opened a can.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
So
no, we're excited about it.
About your canning line.
Oh yeah, and that with the Pilsner. I mean, it just times out great that we get to launch this new beer, and then we launch our new can line, and I get to drink Pilsner all the time now.
You guys, I meant to say happy anniversary.
Thank you.
You're like so many breweries. This whole everything at the upside down world right now is like interfering with what otherwise would be glorious anniversary plans. But so cheers to Black Raven anniversary. Right on.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, especially lately.
Yeah.
Luckily we have a really awesome team, and we have lots of help. We can't do this ourselves, so it's just everybody's pitched in. We've all been through some really, challenging times here with building Woodinville, and it's made us all stronger. I just, I'm not going to take my hat off because I'll probably pull my earplugs out, but hats off to all the staff and customers of Black Raven and everybody that supports us, all our family, and it's pretty cool.
So why don't we try and do this tour? Why don't you take us around the brewery? Take us up to the brew deck.
All right, bear with me, everyone. I'm not normally paid to do this sort of thing.
And we'll try not to get too wobbly.
Yeah, so. I'll do my best. I've only had half a can of beer. Oh, there we go. All right. I will do my best steady cam.
While Beau is walking with Steadicam, I'm just going to tell you, I've been out to the brewery a couple times. I was there just before they opened, and Beau gave me a tour. And the thing that I thought was some of the things that I thought were cool is there's tons of elbow room, so they've got room to grow. They've got nothing is crammed in any place. And they have a garage door. They can, it's nice enough just to have a loading dock for a brewery, but they can actually pull a full-size semi-truck into the place, which is kind of bonus. Talk about luxury. So yeah, here we are up on the brew deck.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and
we're looking
also,
at the brew deck. Mm-hmm.
Beau's being a little bit modest. I'm just going to tell everybody, Beau's being a little bit modest. His system that he's showing us right now, it's really cool. It's like a total hot rod. It's pretty kick-ass.
You're right. I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah, it's badass.
Yeah. So what you're really seeing in this configuration is you're really looking at the systems, the technology, the pieces and parts that you would find on a 100-barrel brew house, but scaled down onto a 30. I mean, you can see here we've got the Star Trek computer here, which is, like I said earlier, you still got to be a brewer, but it's nice to have this, have a lot of control. Let's see if I can do this without making everybody throw up and dizzy.
That's all going. It's going fine so far, so what the hell?
Okay, good. We'll just kind of walk through the process real quick. So we have, starting probably everybody that's listening has a pretty good idea how beer is made. I'm not going to bore you with that. But starting here on the grain screen, we can see silo 1 and 2, although we only have one of the silos right now. At our specialties, you kind of get a visual of what's happening. You can control, you can run independent recipes. Going into your next screen would be your first vessel, which is your mash mixer, mash tun. Again, you can see lots of control over the process and the variables. Same thing, we move to the lauter tun. Again, just really basically an electronic brewer's assistant, if you will.
Yeah, it's still. Pedal. I think that one of the things, the takeaways here is that it may seem like it's a really automated system,
right.
But it's just basically it's saving your back. It's saving you a lot of the actual work. You don't have to run around doing things, but you still have to do the things. So
Oh yeah,
make
you
the beer
definitely
for you.
do. No, it doesn't make the beer. You can't dial in from home and just and have it make your beer. So as nice as some days that would be, but yeah. So and then we'll walk down to the end here. The two large tanks in front of us, that's our hot and cold liquor tank, which is basically just a giant hot and cold water tanks. Sounds like I got got a chiller cut on, so you might get some background noise.
Yeah, I tried looking up recently, wondering where the term liquor came from, and
Okay,
I don't know why they call it liquor, but I guess
yeah,
what the hot and cold liquor, instead of just calling it water, is any water. Tell me if I'm wrong, Bo, but basically
right.
any water that's going to actually be used for making the beer.
That's the way I
So,
understand it.
wow.
So
So you
these,
don't.
okay.
When you're cleaning stuff, you're using water, but when you're making beer with it, it's liquor.
There you go. Yeah. Well, let's go back. Speaking of cleaning, so here's some more nerdy stuff. So this is a CIP skid that's hard plumbed to the brew house. So what that means is clean in place. So we can pump our cleaning and sanitation and rinse and everything through all the system and all the piping. Really kind of fun stuff. I kind of had to stop and can you see who that is on top of the cold room?
Not really. I can see
It's
that
Nigel. It's Cardboard Nigel.
Oh, it's Cardboard Nigel.
Yeah, so he's watching over us while we do this.
Hi, Nigel.
Yeah.
Cardboard Nigel watches over the brew house at all times, huh?
He does. He always keeps his eye on us. So we got to make sure we're doing it right. All right. So these are the 120 barrel fermenters, which is 4 batch links on the 30 barrel brew house. These were made by Marks here in Washington, in the Vancouver area. Beautiful tanks. They did a great job. Really happy with these tanks.
What size are they, Bo?
These are 120s. Yeah.
120s.
120 barrels. That's correct. So that's 4 batch links on the brew house. So I am going to move us down into the cellars, and again, I'm going to do my best steady cam, but I also got to watch these stairs.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Get down the stairs safely. It's most important.
Exactly. Right. And you'll notice we've got, there's a lot, like you said earlier, there's a lot of room here. It is more room than we need now. Hopefully we grow into that. But after building and working in a brewery that about every year we tended to outgrow ourselves over in Redmond, it's really nice to be able to have the room. So we all enjoy that luxury. We're going to walk through the cellars here a second. So you'll see here, these are the 60 barrel fermenters and brights that were in Redmond. We brought these over here until at one point we upgrade them to 120s or whatnot. We'll see, but it gives us flexibility on batch sizes. And then as the process goes down, we're coming out of the conical tanks, which are our fermenters, into the brights, which are for cellar operations, getting the beer ready for packaging or kegging off. Another CIP system here right in front of us, which is these 3 little vessels. This is pretty much what brewers do. We clean a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm. As a former home brewer, it's just like that's just the idea of having a clean in place system like that. It's just mouth-watering.
It is. Yeah, it really is. As we move towards the back here, you'll see the tanks get smaller. These are 30 barrel fermenters. So these are single batch length tanks for smaller projects or something that, we just need 30 barrels. We don't need 120 barrels of particular beer. Again, more flexibility. Now, ignore all the junk in the background. We're still working on some things, but pretty much where that scissor lift is, that's where the canning line is going to be. This whole area through here, where these barrels are. So this is going to look very different here.
Hopefully next week. Yeah, next month.
Yeah. Well, hopefully starting next week. And then down at the end down there is the Comac, which is for kegging. So that's going to clean our kegs, sanitize the kegs, and then we fill the kegs all in one step. So that's where our beer is being kegged at, and then where I'm standing here is where it will be canned at. Now we're gonna go a little further back, and we're gonna let's go take a look at Can Canyon. You know, you gotta store a lot of cans in the brewing business if you're doing any kind of canning like we are now.
Wow.
You gotta have somewhere to put cans.
Yeah.
And we're gonna just walk down, get an idea of the scale. This is pretty fun. Try to do this here. Oh, look at all those cans! Look at all those colors. Isn't that nice?
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's it's pretty wild. Lots of storage for cans. Actually, let's look at the Pilsner. Hey, look, there's the Pilsner cans over there. Yeah, we're gonna fill you up.
Vast. It's a universe of Pilsner cans.
Drink you. Yeah. No, it's pretty wild. I mean, these are kind of the fun things you don't normally see in the breweries. I mean, sometimes you do, but it's just all the support items and equipment and people and everything that you know, make the nice shiny tank in the front work. Glycol chiller is what we're looking at here. Creating keeping all the tanks that we looked at earlier cooled down. The fermenters and bright tanks. And again, for scale, just kind of so you see what we're dealing with here.
There's the van.
Good sized building.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's pretty neat. And let's just go take a gander here into the tap room. The tap room's a little noisy sometimes, just in background noise, like the HVAC unit and the stereo. So we might just go poke our heads up to the window. While we're gonna do that, we're gonna take a look here. Let's back it up to the very beginning. So before, we got some sun there. Before that mash mixer starts mixing water and grain, we've got to get that grain over there to the mash mixer. And this, what you can see through here is that the grain handling area coming in from outside the silo. At our specialties, run through the hopper, the mill, mills up through the bucket elevator into the grist case in the back there, and then follows this auger line. Let's see if I can do this. Over to back where we were. That's where we were up there at the mash mixer. So that's kind of interesting. And again, you know, talking about that scale, I mean, this is luxury right here. I mean, to have this much room for grain, I mean, man, are you lucky or what? Oh yeah, it's my golf cart.
Yeah, you gotta have. You got a lot of room when you need a golf cart to get from one side of the brewery to the other. How about you really don't?
Exactly. Yeah, you really don't. I hardly ever even use it. But anyway, we're taking a look into the tap room here. As you can see, is very, very different than what we would normally see in a tap room. But you know, we're all going through the same thing, and this is what an empty tap room for us looks like. But thankful people are coming in. Everybody's staying safe. Everybody's being smart, and that's the important part.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do this. I'm gonna go back to my stationary spot.
Okay.
Really, because that's where my beer is. So give me a second here. We're gonna move over there.
Yeah, my beer's gone, so I should probably work on that too. But
right.
I don't want to have to get up. Maybe I can talk my wife into getting me a beer.
Well, there you go.
Honey, be a dear. You can get me a beer.
Be a dear.
Wants to know how Bill's doing getting empty cans.
So Beau's back at his station now with his beer.
Yes, I did find my station and my beer. I'll wait till you get yours.
Thank you, honey.
Cheers.
There we go. Cheers.
Much better. Yeah. So now that we have Woodinville online, that allows us to use Redmond. It's more specialty driven.
Yeah.
Woodinville does not replace Redmond. This is just in some ways a bigger version of Redmond. So it'll be really fun to get over the course of the next year with once we get past these disruptions to really maximize Redmond for that purpose. And the tap room there remains the same. Everything as far as the experience goes for our guests is the same. It's the same place. Just looks a little different in the back, and we've downsized some space over there, removed a lot of equipment, brought it over here. But it still has the capacity to do probably 2,000 barrels a year over there.
Right on. And what fun, exciting stuff is happening over there right now? You got anything cool in barrels, or what can we look forward to?
Yeah, that's the real trick. There's a couple little projects over there hanging out. There's not a lot in the tanks right now there because of, again, all this, everything that happened and, just moving some things around. We do continue to do, for example, the last thing to come out of Redmond, and there's actually still some over there that we'll package off, I think, next week. But for example, Wisdom Seeker is still a Redmond beer when we make that. At least it was this time. So some of our smaller specialty runs, we can still continue to make in Redmond if it makes sense. But then, we can start also making fun beers that are just taproom only type releases, which, sometimes can turn into a beer that does take off and becomes a series or an annual beer. So as far as like some super secret beer that's hiding over there waiting to come out, no.
Nothing super secret,
there's not a lot of that right now, and if it's super secret, I'm not going to tell you anyway. So
that's true. So, I mean, you do got some barley wine sitting in barrels over there, I'm sure.
Maybe.
See how you are, crazy COVIDs. So, I'm trying to keep these little sessions here to 30 minutes because I know people have very short attention spans, and if we can keep everybody entertained for 30 minutes, we're doing pretty damn good. So we just got a couple of minutes left. So let's talk about some other stuff. Like I wanted to ask you, what was your favorite band when you were in high school?
Oh man, okay. Favorite band in high school. So I listened to, and I guess this will be coming into high school. So kind of like that 9th, 10th grade, early high school. I love the Cars and ZZ Top. I had tapes that I would wear out, then CDs eventually. But I would say the Cars and ZZ Top there for a long time. I mean, obviously more than that, but those are the two that popped to mind that, I pretty much had memorized most of the music. And then throw Rush in there, of course.
Of course.
But,
I somehow I knew you were a fellow Rush fan.
Well, yeah.
So when you were in high school, if you could have afforded to buy any car to show up and impress the girls and be the coolest kid in the school, what car would you have shown up in?
Ooh, I've never heard this. This is a new question. Okay. Okay, so this would have been 1984 to 1988. So, and this is in California. So that probably kind of puts you down into like some exotic imports. I don't know, like a 911 or something, kind of in the Porsche family.
Right on.
Kind of like, I always enjoyed those cars. I actually owned a 77S years later when you could actually afford to buy one. That was a fun car to drive. So I did finally get to have, an older 911 to see how fast it goes.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because that was if you had asked me what car would have been my cool car in high school, I would have said a 911 Turbo Carrera.
Yeah, well, okay.
Something in
yeah.
like say a 72, 73 Turbo Carrera.
Yeah, they're just neat cars.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah. Okay, what's
So
next? What else you got?
Beatles or Stones?
Ooh,
Or both?
boy. I never really. Yeah, don't hit me. I never really got into either one of those in any big way. I don't think I've ever even had more than, other than a playlist on Spotify. I don't even know if I ever had an album by either.
That's cool. So you're too cool for the Beatles and the Stones.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe I'm just not cool enough. I actually do enjoy them both, and I've actually started to enjoy the Stones more than I did earlier in life. So that, yeah, it's funny. It's like your tastes change, you grow, you evolve or de-evolve, however you want to look at it. But a lot of bands that I maybe didn't pay much attention to in the past, I really am starting to pay attention to now.
Well, and we all started out drinking crappy beer. So, and look where we're at now. We drink the best beer in the world now.
Haven't we? Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Beau.
Absolutely.
Not just for coming on today to do this broadcast for everybody, but also for giving me an excuse to shave.
Okay.
I didn't put on real pants today either, so I'm still wearing sweatpants. But I did shave.
Okay. It's baby steps. Steps. I cleaned up today. I went to the groomer, which Petco, which no, I didn't actually. I just did it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figured, look my best. This is all I got. Yeah. This is it.
This is what we got. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Beau. And I'm kind of keeping an eye on the thread here on Facebook to see if anybody has any questions.
Oh, cool.
I'm just seeing a lot of compliments.
Yeah.
Nigel's here drinking a Wisdom Seeker.
Yeah.
Go figure. Nigel's
go figure.
Drinking.
Smart
go figure. Guy. It's in his blood. All right. So anyway, we're going to wrap this up. And thanks a lot for coming on with us today, Beau.
Absolutely.
And
thanks for this great idea.
I hope to see you for real in person, and we'll share a beer, not just you and me, but maybe we'll invite Nigel too, and we'll actually get to see all of our old friends in person again someday. All right, so everybody, thank you very much for joining us today, and keep questions coming. I'll try and keep an eye on Facebook and run some answers to some questions, whatever I can do. So anyway, thanks a lot for joining us, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.